Considering a future in TV news, working for one of these guys? I'll be speaking with MSNBC anchor Chris Jansing. I'm Chris Ahrens, and this is Media Beat. We're back with Chris Jansing. Chris, what advice do you give college students who aspire to be television news anchors and reporters?
Well, the first thing I always tell them is make sure you love news, because I do think that people see what I do on television for an hour at MSNBC on Jansing and Company, or for 2.5 minutes on nightly news, and they think, oh, that looks fun, that looks glamorous. And they don't see me getting up at 4 o'clock in the morning. They don't see that part of it, and they don't see that there are stories that aren't quite so glamorous as going to London for the royal wedding. So the first thing I tell them is you have to love news. If I go into a college classroom and I try to talk to a lot of students, if I go into a classroom and there's not a newspaper that they read, and they don't know what any of the websites are, I think, you might be interested in television, and there's nothing wrong with being interested in television, but you've got to love news.
Yeah. So you've been to Rome, to Iceland, to Japan,
I
to
stood
Beijing.
on top of an exploding volcano.
Yeah. So what haven't you done? What story would you like to cover, or what story is undercovered right now, do you think?
Oh, I think there are we were covering a lot of stories about poverty in the United States, and certainly there's a global problem, without a doubt. And it's getting some coverage. I don't think it ever gets enough. And I think that in this particular environment, when so many Americans are hurting so much, there are so many stories here at home that have such a direct impact. People often ask me, like, what's the story you haven't covered? Well, it's always, what's the next big story? Yeah. I remember being in Tallahassee on probably day 32 of the 37 days we spent there in the 2000 election. At dinner, one of the rare times that a bunch of reporters sat down, and it wasn't very lively, and I thought everybody must be so tired, and somebody said, I think it's that we all believe this may be the biggest story we ever cover. Well, then 9/11 happened. So there's always that next exciting big thing, that next big get. If you had asked me last year, what's the interview that you're dying for, it would have been Osama bin Laden.
Yeah. Any person in the world that if you had that dream interview, who would it be?
Oh, it's such a hard... I think it's probably not the person that most people would expect, but I don't know that an American journalist has ever done a truly in-depth interview with a pope. It's somebody of such international consequence that I do think is undercovered, and in the developing world, the influence is so great.
You working on that one?
Not really. In the way that you can really work on that story that will probably never come to pass. I don't know. It's usually that big person who's in the news at that particular time.
Your social media of choice, Twitter, Facebook?
I do Twitter better because it's just more mobile for me. Mm-hmm.
And when will the Cleveland Browns be for real?
Oh my gosh. This is the if you really want to know what my dream interview is, it's to have an interview with the MVP of the Super Bowl champion Cleveland Browns.
Super Bowl 62.
Did you notice that there was a little tear in my eye when you said that? Because it's already not a good season. I was a season ticket holder for many years. Well, you got to love the Packers.
And the Green Bay Packers, as we tape this, are 6-0. I just want to.
You know what? I cheer for them. I cheer for the old time teams.
Yeah. Chris Jansing, thank you so much for coming in. We appreciate it.
Thank you.